Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Chakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Orwell. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. I am the brother Caleb from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, coming back at you with another lesson to help edify those of which I spoke of. Now, this is going to be a very disturbing story that I'm gonna do a video on here. In fact, it's like I think I heard about this story a few days ago. But the thing is, it was late at night and I was scrolling through my news feed, and I came across the article and I started reading it, but it was so disturbing. I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna have to knock this on the head and just dip out on this one, because it was late at night. I think it might have been on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And I had to tap out because it was just so horrific. But obviously, now I'm back. Now I'm back to do a lesson on it, and I'm gonna get into the details of this account because it's really sad, man. Really sad. So let's read this. This is from the People. It says, Brazilian woman coldly confessed to killing pregnant teen, cutting baby out of room, and claiming it as her own. The body of Emily Beatriz Azevedo Sena was discovered buried in the backyard of a home in Soraiba on March the 13th. March the 13th. Let's see. When was March the 13th? Yeah, so I think it was Friday I heard about this for the first time, because March the 13th was Thursday. So yeah, I'm back now to do a lesson on it. Lord willing, it will be edifying. But it's a grim story. Let's get into this. It says, so there's the woman there, the young Jake, Brazilian woman. A Brazilian woman has reportedly confessed to killing a 16-year-old pregnant girl and cutting her unborn child out of her womb, according to local authorities. On Friday, March the 14th, the civil police of Mato Grosso announced that the woman coldly confessed to the facts in the killing of Emily Beatriz Azevedo Sena, who was 9 months pregnant. Emily's body was discovered buried in the backyard of a home in the Jardim Florianopolis neighborhood of Soiba, if I'm saying that correct, Soiba, on March 13th. Where is Soiba? I don't know. It was. Hang on, let me check that. So just checking where Soiba is. The hell is this? I want to see this shit. Why the hell is this shit coming up? There we go. Fuck that shit, man. Okay, so Soiba is in Brazil. Okay, capital city of the largest Brazilian state. Excuse me. All right, let's get back to the article. Right, so Emily's body was discovered buried in the backyard of a home in Jardim Florianopolis neighborhood of Soiba on March the 13th. The police say she was reported missing. Police said the suspect had plans to keep the teenager's baby. Authorities said the suspect will be charged with the crimes of triple qualified homicide, vile motive, cruel means, and means that prevented the victim from defending herself, concealment of a corpse, and registering someone else's birth as her own. Now, this is tragic, man, because this woman attempted to murder this young woman who was pregnant, cut her baby out of her womb, then go to the authorities and present the baby as her own so that she could raise the child as her own. How cruel and wicked and evil is that? Because that child would then grow up their whole life thinking that the mother, this alleged mother, was her mother, not knowing the truth that her biological mother had been murdered. This woman was prepared to live a whole lifetime of a lie to this child just so that she could fulfill her own self gratification of having a baby. Because evidently, I guess she was struggling to be able to conceive a child by herself. But that's a judgment from the Lord. Because whether or not the Most High allows a woman to become pregnant or not, that's covered in the Holy Bible, in the scriptures, because it will say, the Most High, made a particular woman barren, or that he opened her womb and allowed her to conceive a child. We're going to get into all those precepts and scriptures because there's quite a few accounts that come to my mind. But let's finish reading this horrific article. Emily left her home in Varzez Grande, just south of Suiba, and was lured into the suspect's brother's home in Jardim, Florianopolis, with promises of clothing donations, authorities said in a press release, which was translated from Portuguese. The suspect and her husband later showed up at the Santa Helena maternity hospital with a baby and told hospital staff the newborn was born at home. Hospital staff became suspicious when the woman showed no signs of a recent birth or pregnancy. After gynecological and laboratory tests were performed, staff determined that the woman did not recently give birth. She was also found to not be producing breast milk when she tried to breastfeed the child. Hospital staff called police to investigate, which ultimately led them to the confession and the discovery of Emily's body in a shallow grave at the suspect's brother's home. The victim's belly was open, indicating a situation of forced labor, in addition to showing signs of hanging, strangulation, and asphyxiation, according to authorities. She had 2 plastic bags covering her head and internet cables wrapped around her neck, hands, and legs, authorities said. Authorities said the suspect's brother and a friend were at home when police arrived and questioned and released. The suspect's husband was also questioned and released. Police Chief Ciel Fernando Alvarez Albuquerque said authorities are continuing to investigate whether the suspect's husband, brother, and a friend were involved in any way with the death and burial. The investigations continue, and all information is being checked to find evidence that may indicate the participation of other people in the execution of the victim, he said. Those whose participation was identified will be duly identified as having participated in the crime. Emily's mother, Ana Paula Meridian, told G1 that I didn't lose a daughter. I lost a friend, a partner, and companion. Only those who lived with her know how wonderful her heart was. Right, so that's the end of the article. And it's a tragic case. At the end of the day, gotta keep it real. This was a judgment from the Most High on this young woman here. As, brutal as it is, we have to keep it in context. This is Job chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, "Remember, I pray thee, who ever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off?" So nobody perishes being innocent. We've all sinned. We've all come short of the glory, so therefore we all die. Now, with that being set aside, this was a completely horrific thing to have happened, because now that child is going to grow up without a mother. But thankfully, the child is being saved a lifetime of pain from having a false mother steal the child. Now, hang on a minute. There's a precept I want to get here. I'm just going to find it. Bear me a second. Hang on. Oh, right. Hang on a second. Bear with me. I've got to find this precept. Gonna have to find this. So lucky for the delay. Right, First Kings. Okay, good. First Kings 33 and 16. So lucky I was having a hard time remembering where that was. This is First Kings chapter 3, starting at verse 16, and it says, "Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him." So they came up to King Solomon, right? "And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together, and there was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king." So there were 2 women. Both of them were pregnant, and they were harlots. One delivered a child, and the other delivered their child 3 days later. But one of them overlaid the baby, and it died in the night. So rather than dealing with the loss of her child, the woman conceived to do something wicked and swap the babies round, pretending that her child hadn't died. So she was prepared to live a whole lifetime of lies and deceit and raise that child as her own. So this reminds me of this case here, where the woman cut the baby out of the young woman who was pregnant's belly and attempted to raise it as her own. But here we'll find how King Solomon judged the matter. with great wisdom. So it says, then said the king, the one saith, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other saith, nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give the half to the one, and the half to the other. Then spake the woman, whose the living child was, unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it neither be mine or thine, but divide it. So this was a test to see who truly had compassion on the child. And as you can see here, the woman whose child it wasn't, she didn't give a shit. She was prepared to let the child be cut in two, rather than to be honest and let the child live with its biological mother. So that shows how deep the wickedness of a woman can go. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment. Now I want to get another account. Bear me a second. Bear me, I'm finding a precept here. There we go. Genesis 29 and 31. Genesis 29, starting at verse 30. I started 29. And Laban gave Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. So Jacob was given Rachel and Leah as wages for serving Laban. So he had 2 wives. And when the Lord Yahweh saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So here's a great precept that shows that the Most High controls the issues of life, whether a person can conceive a child or not. So he made Leah to conceive a child because she was hated, but he made Rachel barren. Let's go into it. This is Genesis 30 verse 1. And when Rachel saw that she was bare, when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in the Most High's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Look at that. So this is what the Most High does. He controls the issues of life and death. He controls whether someone's womb is open or closed. Now there's another account I want to get in 1 Samuel of Hannah. I think it's in 1 Samuel. Yeah, this is it. 1 Samuel 1 and 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramathim Zophim, if I'm saying that correctly, of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuhu, an Ephraimite. And he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and sacrifice unto the Lord Yahweh of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas, the priests of Yahweh, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave Peninnah his wife and all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah. But the Lord Yahweh had shut up her womb. There you go. And her adversaries also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because Yahweh had shut up her womb. So this isn't nothing new. Women being barren and not being able to conceive children is not a new thing. But what has always been the case is that a lot of women feel a lot of shame when they don't conceive children, because deep down inside they know that their purpose is to bring forth children and to carry forth their husband's lineage. Yeah. So in the ancient world, it was greatly frowned upon if you wasn't able to do that. Women felt a way about that. But what is the answer? Is the answer to go around murdering other women, cutting them open and stealing their children to present them as your own? No, that's not the answer. That's not the solution. Here's the solution that you're supposed to take when you're presented with such a situation, as we'll read on and find out here. Right. So 1 Samuel 1:6. And her adversaries also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because Yahweh had shut up her womb. And as she did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord Yahweh, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? Why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am I not better to thee than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up early after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of Yahweh, and she was in bitterness of soul, and she prayed unto the Lord Yahweh and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord Yahweh of hosts, if thou will indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord Yahweh all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord Yahweh, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. And Eli said unto her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, No, my lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord Yahweh. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and in grief have I spoken here too. So that's what you women are supposed to do. Pour out your heart to the Lord and pray that he can allow you to conceive. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the power of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And so she said, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning early and worshipped before the Lord Yahweh, and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord Yahweh remembered her. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come, about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, because I have asked him of Yahweh. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto Yahweh the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned. Then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Lord Yahweh and abide there forever. So she was willing to fulfill her vow that if the Lord allowed her to conceive a son, that she would offer him to the Lord. So she kept her vow. And Elkanah her husband said unto her, Do what seemeth thee good. Tarry until thou have weaned him. Only the Lord Yahweh established his word. So the woman abode, and gave her son suck until she weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took her up with her, with 3 bullocks, and 1 ephah of flour, and a bottle of wine, and brought him unto the house of the Lord Yahweh in Shiloh. And the child was young. And there they slew a bullock, and brought the child to Eli. And she said, O my Lord, as thy soul liveth, my Lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here praying unto Yahweh. For this child I prayed, and Yahweh hath given me my petition, which I asked of him. Therefore also I have lent him to the Lord Yahweh. As long as he liveth, he shall appear. So as long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Lord Yahweh. And he worshipped the Lord there. Now this is a good prayer. And Hannah prayed and said, My heart rejoiceth in Yahweh. Mine horn is exalted in Yahweh. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as Yahweh, for there is none besides thee. Now this is what that woman who stole the baby, instead of murdering a young teenage woman and stealing the baby, she should have prayed this prayer. 1 Samuel 2:2. There is none holy as Yahweh, for there is none besides thee, neither is there any rock like our power. Talk no more exceeding proudly, let no arrogancy come out of your mouth, for Yahweh is a power of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumbled are girded with strength. They that were full hired out themselves for bread, and they that were hungry ceased, so that the barren hath borne 7, and she that hath many children is waxed feeble. The Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord Yahweh maketh poor, and he maketh rich. He bringeth low, and he lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he hath set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. The adversaries of Yahweh shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord Yahweh shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his kings, and exalt the horn of his anointed. So that's the prayer she prayed. Now, I'm going to get one more precept before I close out. This is Sirach 25:13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Jumping down to verse 17. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So there you go. All wickedness is but little. It's like a little accident outside. I'll go and find out what that was. Before I close out, I'll read that again. This is Sirach 25 and 17. So 25 and 19 again. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So yeah, that was a very wicked woman to do that act of murdering the young mother and stealing her child. But yeah, Lord willing, these precepts gave edification from that situation, because these aren't new issues. Things written a full time and written for our learning. So there's a lot that can be learned from adhering to the scriptures. So with that, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, HaKodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. And I will catch you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom for now.